WUSA 9 at 9 a.m. begins with breaking news. The images people across the DMV have waited months for. About an hour ago, the Washington Commanders released the first batch of renderings of the team's new stadium on the RFK site. These are the new photos of those renderings.
Our chief investigative reporter Eric Flack has been covering the Commanders Stadium pursuit for years, but he's also been working this story since early this morning. And Flack, these are the first publicly released images of the team's planned $3.7 billion stadium.
And a lot of talk about what this stadium would look like. And finally, we're getting those first images. Remember, there's $1.1 billion in taxpayer funding.
Right.
So people want to know what all that money got. We'll take a closer look. Commanders owner Josh Harris said this stadium would reflect the nation's capital while honoring the old RFK Stadium. It certainly does that. We've been talking around the newsroom, already hitting social media. That RFK feel is certainly there. Design firm HKS appears to have delivered on the promise to kind of have a nod to what was once there. The stadium will hold up to 70,000 people, making it large enough to host the Super Bowl. It's going to sit along DC's monumental axis, which means there's going to be a straight line with the Lincoln Memorial, Washington Monument, and U.S. Capitol. You can see it right there, part of the L'Enfant plan.
That's right.
As we were talking about before. The stadium features a transparent domed roof that rises on the north and south sides, but stays lower on the east and west, and that's to avoid blocking views of the Capitol and the monuments from that look right there. It also, of course, gives it that RFK feel. The swooping roof line does echo RFK. And then notice those, this is new, the columns along the exterior designed to connect the stadium interior with the public spaces outside. It also kind of gives it that classic look. We're going to see much more in the future about those columns. At least 30% of the site is going to be dedicated to parks and recreation along the waterfront. You can see some of those green spaces there. Wisdom, you and I were talking.
Yes.
We're not sure if that's a parking lot right there. It's unclear with green on top.
Right.
That may be what that is. The stadium is designed by HKS. That is the same firm behind US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, SoFi in LA, and AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Now, in a statement, the president of the Washington Commanders, Mark Klaus, said HKS's approach has helped us shape a concept that is worthy of its extraordinary site along DC's monumental axis and truly embodies the spirit and character of the district. DC Mayor Muriel Bowser credited HKS with designing an iconic stadium that honors the history of our city and our skyline while also being a true catalyst for future opportunity at the RFK campus. The team and city said this project is designed to spur development while also serving as a neighborhood gathering spot and, of course, a venue for major events, not just football games.
Right, right. And because, you know, in the NFL, every team that is built in the last 20 years or so that has built a domed stadium eventually gets the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
So that would be huge for this area.
They have not been shy about making that their goal, as well as maybe being a host site of the 2031 Women's World Cup.
So is this a done deal, or what happens next?
Well, there is a review process. The design has to go to the district for approval. That's the National Capital Planning Commission, which could review these plans as soon as February 5th. The U.S. Commission of the Fine Arts also has to sign off on the plans before construction can start. Construction, though, is supposed to start this fall.
And they will, you think they will make the timeline that they've set up for themselves?
I think that timeline is very, very important to them. I know that I've been told more renderings are to come. We're going to see more from the outside, see more of those columns. Also, get a peek and look at what it looks like from the inside.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
People, we were talking in the newsroom once again, our sports producer who's been out to US Bank says US Bank from the inside is just stunning. And again, that's the same firm. That's the last stadium they built.
All right.
Yay!
Looking forward to that, yeah.
It's happening.
I can't wait to see it when it's done and see how, not just the stadium, but like you talked about, the whole area,
That's
how
right.
it's transformed.
And that's going to take some
something
time.
else. Yes.
And the stadium has to come first. If you build it, they will come,
Yes.
as they said in the movie.
Right, right.
And that's the thought here. But that stadium is going to be some anchor, some
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful anchor.
It really is.
Agreed.
All right.